So far.
My day so far has been, it's busy. There are, 500 people here, which is the biggest BESIG ever, I believe. Definitely the biggest one I've been to.
Right.
Which is wonderful. And when you're working on a stand at this kind of thing, obviously you want a lot of numbers, and it's fantastic because you just get people coming past the whole time. I'm here to try and talk to teachers who want to write, which is perfect, because I always feel like the kind of teachers who take time out of the schedule, especially at a weekend, to come to a conference, are the types of teachers who obviously taking their career seriously, taking their professional development seriously, and they're the kind of teacher who, in my experience, often ends up being a good writer, because they're serious professionals that care about what's going on in their industry, and they've got ideas, they want to come and share them. So for me, running this agency, it's perfect. This is kind of this is where I find my talent, which is great. And I felt like Gavin set the tone nicely this morning with the plenary.
Yes, your plenary, you had the laughs on your side.
Yeah.
Everybody was laughing.
I think it's one of those things where people want something to think about, but they also, I think people expect a little bit of entertainment. I don't mean that in a bad way. I think a lot of the best plenaries I go to are ones where I learn something, but I also have a good time, and I think that's quite important, actually. There's a lot of serious stuff to be done in the day, but I think it's it's a nice way to start a long day at a conference. There's a whole debate going on at the moment. I was having a very interesting discussion on Hugh Deller's blog recently about what we should or shouldn't be teaching, and there's a whole part of our industry, profession, that thinks we should just be teaching language and we shouldn't be getting involved in anything else. But one of the things I have now with technology is I think that if we're asking people to use technologies in their learning, then we have a little duty of care to make sure that they can use them safely and responsibly. And that covers a whole range of things, from awareness of copyright on images, for example. I read a great blog post the other day that something like 325,000 edu-blogs were taken offline because of a threat of a publisher suing edu-blogs for an image of salami that was used by an 11-year-old in his blog entry. So there's that side of things, is people keeping safe and legal. But then the other side I was talking about a little bit more was about them being safe, in the sense of not projecting an unprofessional profile online. So when people engage with social networks, if they're engaging with other people in their profession, that they need to do it with a certain amount of awareness of their digital footprint, of how people perceive them.
Again, I think I like the phrase "use duty of care," because I think that's exactly what it is. This is something that we, as a learner, I'm sure many learners aren't really aware of the term digital literacy or the importance of it. As human beings, many of us aren't. I'm sure a lot of people in this room this morning weren't. And the idea that you can, so much of your life spent online is based around communicating. That's what the web is now. It's what online life's about. So we are we're teachers of communication, we're practitioners of communication. This is an important element of communication now, so we need to be aware of it, and we need to think about ways to use it in the classroom and what we should be doing, which I thought you did perfectly.
Thank you very much. One of the British Council Elton Awards this year went to the pronunciation app by Adrian Underhill, and here we have the David Riley Award with another app winning. And there seems like there's a sort of a little bit of a shift, slowly. And we're just talking about where publishers go with that kind of content. So how do publishers get round to adapting to this new medium? I was saying that, things like teacher development books seem to me like a perfect thing for being ebooks or, Kindle publications or something. One of the great things for me, I only really buy electronic books now because there are two features which I find absolutely vital. The ability to search, so I don't, gone are the old days of little bits of fluorescent paper, and the ability to bookmark things and make notes easily.
I'm thinking back to my CELTA course in Barcelona. This was 2001. And you get your reading list at the start of your CELTA course.
Yeah.
And I showed up. I was moving from the UK to Spain, and I had a huge amount of bags and stuff, moved my entire life, including a huge amount of very heavy books.
Yeah.
Swan's work, and Jeremy's work, and all this kind of stuff. And now, how many CELTA students must just show up at the start of the CELTA course with a Kindle?
Yeah,
They want.
although if they had the ELT books on there, they wouldn't exactly be legal copies, would they?
That's the problem. So, surely there's an opportunity there, especially in teacher development material, to make that stuff available in the way that most people have. I mean, I haven't bought a paper book in at least a year.
No.
It's all. So we're also talking about how the publishers take their classroom content, the course books, that kind of stuff. And it'd be very interesting to think. You look at the way content's delivered now as apps and that kind of thing, and how would we be delivering content to students if the book had never existed? If all we had was what we have now, if all we had was the web and the kind of technologies we have now, and we weren't hung up on the idea of a book, what would we be doing? I mean, it's an impossible question, but I imagine we'd be doing some pretty amazing things.
The classroom would probably be a very different place, which doesn't mean to say that it would be a better place, but it would certainly be different. Yeah, these are exciting times. Cleve Miller from 360 was saying how lucky we are to live right now, because the pace of development is so amazing.
That's very
and the changes that we've seen in our profession over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very exciting.
Exactly.